Canada is currently going through a housing crisis and has been for a number of years. And one of the major drivers of this is the fact that we're not building enough new housing. When we pair that with the fact that we're seeing record levels of immigration come into this country, this is only making things worse. So in this video, I'm going to break down what those numbers look like and some of the challenges that we're facing. What's going on, guys? My name's Alex Dunbar and I'm a local realtor based out of the Surrey and Langley areas here in BC. If this is your first time on my channel, I make weekly real estate videos pertaining to the BC and Canadian real estate markets, as well as showcase community tours across the Lower Mainland. So if that's something you're interested in seeing more of, I suggest you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you're notified whenever I come out with a new video. While you're at it, it would be great if you could hit that like button so the algorithm will push this video out to more amazing individuals just like you who want to learn more about Canadian real estate. Now, first of all, let me clarify that I am in support of immigration and it's definitely needed in Canada. And in no way am I blaming immigrants for the affordability crisis. But you simply can't deny the economics of supply and demand. And the more people entering the country, that creates more demand for housing, and without further supply, this puts further pressure on the current supply and tends to drive prices higher. Current immigration numbers show that Canada aims to welcome 431,645 new permanent residents this year in 2022, 447,055 in 2023, and 451,000 in 2024, for a total of more than 1.3 million over the next 3 years. But how does that fare up against new homes? The most recent report from August shows that housing starts in Canada decreased by 3% over a month earlier to 267,443 units in August of 2022. According to the CMHC, this is still above the market expectations of 265,000 units. Based off these numbers, many would argue that we have the housing situation under control, as not every immigrant needs a home for themselves. And if we were to divide the numbers of new immigrants by the number of housing starts, that would put us at 1 new home per 1.6 immigrants. Seems simple enough, right? Well, unfortunately, it's a bit more complicated than that. And now I'd like to touch on some of the issues that arise. Number one, where are the houses being built and where are the immigrants going? Statistics show that BC's net migration numbers reached over 100,000 people in 2021, which is the highest annual total since 1961. The majority of these people are ending up in the Lower Mainland, which begs the question, how many of these homes are being built specifically in this area? In the first 8 months of 2022, there have been over 40,000 new homes registered in BC, and breaking it down even further, Metro Vancouver accounted for 79.4% of all new homes registered in August. Of these, the top 3 cities were Surrey at 37.8%, North Vancouver at 14.1%, and Vancouver at 8.8%. Point number 2, what types of housing are being built? Of the over 40,000 new homes registered in BC, this was made up of 7,011 single-family detached homes and 33,283 multi-unit homes. That means over 80% are multi-unit homes, and of these, 10,863 are purpose-built rentals. In regards to the new single-family homes, many of these are large luxury homes that come with higher price points and don't really help with the supply or affordability for the average person. Point number 3, how long are the housing starts taking and are they even finishing? Building homes, especially condo buildings, can take a number of years, and most projects are delayed and some never actually get completed. I've been hearing that a lot of developers are currently putting their projects on hold due to the current market conditions, which will further impact supply, at least in the short term. Point number 4, we have a significant labor shortage here in Canada. Provinces across the country are having a hard time meeting their affordable housing goals due to labor shortages, and this comes according to a recent report from the CMHC. They stated, "We will not be able to build our way out of the housing supply problem as significant labor capacity constraints exist across most provinces in Canada." For a link to that report, I will leave it down in the description. And point number 5, how many of these new homes are tearing down old ones in order to replace them? The previous report by the CMHC also points out that there's a phenomenon which is more prevalent in BC than other provinces, which is the fact that some housing starts will be offset by tearing down old ones to make way for the new ones. In BC, because of the land shortages and projects such as the SkyTrain extensions, pre-existing buildings are often demolished to make way for newer buildings, which are usually more expensive. In conclusion, there are a variety of factors at play here. The housing crisis primarily resides in the urban centers of BC and Ontario. It's been stated that BC would also need to double its amount of housing starts if it wants to meet its 2030 target. So, as I've said many times in the past, the government needs to make it easier to build new homes, as the rezoning and permitting processes are the most difficult and takes a lot of time. And that presents a clear issue that needs to be dealt with. Instead of trying to take on the onus of building the housing themselves, the government needs to take a step back, remove the red tape, and make it easier for developers. On top of the lack of supply, there was a recent report from the CMHC showing government costs raise new home prices by up to 24% or $180,000 on the average new condo in Vancouver. So not only are they making it more difficult to build than it should be, but they're essentially inflating the cost of that limited limited inventory. Aside from that, we are likely to see home prices trickle down a little further with the next interest rate announcement at the end of the month. And keep in mind, the rule of thumb is that for every 1% increase in interest rates, buyers lose about 10% of their buying power. So while we've already seen the early impacts of this with the overnight lending rate going from 0.25 to 3.25% since the start of the year, the amount by which the rates continue to be raised and will continue to be raised will play a big role. But conversely, home prices only become more affordable if they match or surpass the amount of buying power that's been eroded. But what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave them down in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. And that's about going to do it for today's video, so if you did get any sort of value whatsoever, all I ask is that you hit that thumbs up button. Lastly, if you are considering buying or selling in Surrey, Langley, or any of the surrounding cities for that matter, or you just want to talk about real estate, you can click the first link down in the description to book a call with me at a time that works best for you. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.